Okay, so your first step is to get y alone. So the first thing I would have done is subtracted 3x, and you get 2y equals negative 3x minus 6. You could have written negative 6 minus 3x. It means the same thing. And then divide everything by 2. So I'm left with y equals negative 3 over 2x minus 3, or plus negative 3 if you like it that way. You totally could have written it like this if you prefer it with plus. All means the same thing. Questions on how I did that? Okay, so now we need to identify our slope and y-intercept. Avery, what's the slope? What?
On that?
Yes.
3 over 2.
Yeah, so this is slope. I always label so I don't get confused, and that makes negative 3 y-intercept. You don't have to label. I just think labeling causes less confusion in the long run. All right, so first step is to get it to be y equals. Second step is to graph the y-intercept. You can't do anything until you graph the y-intercept. So if the y-intercept is negative 3, I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to put a coordinate pair at negative 3 on the y. Make sure not to put it on the x. On the y is the y-intercept. Everybody good there? Okay. Third step is you're going to use the slope to plot at least 2 more coordinate pairs. To plot at least 2 more. So you want a total of 3 coordinate pairs. The more the better. So if you can get 4 or 5 on a graph, even better. But I always say minimum 3. So this is the most confusing part. If your slope is a positive, you're going to follow these rules. Up and to the right, down and to the left. It'll make sense here in a second. If it's a negative, you're going to go up and to the left and down and to the right. So just know that if it's a positive, up and to the right, or down and to the left, negative, up to the left, down to the right. So one thing you have to know about slope. Slope is rise over run. And all that means is it tells you how much you go up or down and side to side. That's why we leave it as a fraction. So we keep constantly leaving slope as a fraction, and that's so we can do the rise over run. Okay, so everyone, you're going to have to, I'm going to do it, and then you're going to model it on your paper. So my slope is negative 3 over 2. So my slope is negative. So this is how you make 2 more points. Now typically I will do 1 down and 1 up, but I'm going to do them both up because it's going to go off the graph. Yes, ma'am.
Do you go up 3 and then across 2?
Yep, we're going to talk about it right here in a second. Okay, so I'm going to do it and then you can do it, but pay close attention. So it's negative. I'm going to go up and to the left. So it tells me I go up 3 from the y-intercept. You have to start at some point. So I'm going up 3. 1, 2, 3. And then it says run 2. So up and then 2 to the left. So 1, 2. You all do the same thing. Don't just put the dot. Make sure you know how to get to the dot. I would count it up 3 over 2. And if I wanted to, I could go down. I could go down 3 to the right 2, but it's going to go off the chart. So instead of doing that, I'm going to now go to my new point and do the same thing. Up 3 over 2. They're just building on each other. Now you're going to know if you do it correctly if they fall in a straight line. Hence how we're making linear equations. So if they don't fall in a straight line, you know you've made a mistake somewhere. One thing I want to teach you. This is a line, so you don't just do this. That's not making a line. A line goes on and on and on. So it should go off your chart with arrows. It should go off your chart with arrows. Everybody good so far? So then your last step is connect all your coordinate points to form a linear function, or a fancy word for a straight line. Okay, you might want to have a different color. We're going to graph another line on that same graph. So if you like to do colors, this may be your time to do it. Sure. Yes, ma'am. Yep. Just make sure you do it compared to the next. Just one. Okay. We are going to now graph y equals 2x minus 2. So our first step said, make sure your equation is written as y equals mx plus b. Ours already is. Y is alone. So we don't even have to do step 1. Okay. Step 2. Graph the y-intercept. Well, what's the y-intercept right now? -2. Good catch. So, I'm putting my first dot at -2. Always graph your y-intercept first. Any questions about that dot? All right, Hudson, is my slope negative or positive?
Positive.
Positive. So I'm going to follow these 2 steps. Watch how I do it, and then you can do it. So I'm going to go up and to the right. If it's just 2, what's on the bottom? 1. Okay, so I'm going to go up 2 and 1 to the right. And if I wanted to, I could keep doing that. Up 2 to the right. Up 2 to the right. I can do as many as I want. And then I can go down 2. Down 2 to the left. The more points you have, the more accurate your line's going to be. And then your last step is just connect them. Your line should be perfectly straight, mine aren't since I don't have a ruler, but you always want to connect with a ruler if possible. Any questions on how I got those points? Any questions? Isn't this easier than the table method? So much easier. Okay, so if you all flip to the back, All right, so let's do number 1 together. It's already y equals, so we get to skip that step. But it's, what is the y-intercept? 1. So I'm putting my first dot at 1, which is right here. Everybody good so far? Questions or concerns? All right. I love that I just saw Tony flip his paper over because he's like, I don't remember. That's perfect. So is our slope positive or negative? Positive. So I'm going to go back to this page just to remember. If my slope is positive, I go up to the right, down to the left, up to the right, down to the left, up to the right, down to the left. All right. So I'm going to go up 2 to the right 3. And I'm going to do another one. I'm going to go down though. And then I'm just going to use my ruler and connect them. And it should, if you go off the graph, it should go through a letter. It should go through a letter. If you go off the graph, it should go through a letter. And your letter is what? Everybody? O. Does everybody see that? You got to go off the graph.
Okay.
It may not go through perfectly, but should at least be close. All right. So now you're going to go to the bottom, and wherever you see a 1, you're going to put an O. Does everybody understand? Does everybody understand? Yes, ma'am.
Wait.
Please don't talk.
So, can I just, yeah. Okay, yeah, that is my question.
You got it?
I'm good, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to allow you the rest of the class period to finish this up, which is plenty of time. You may work